A stunning upset, and one that could change the political landscape throughout the entire country for years. Democrats are trying to figure out how to navigate Zohran Mamdani's unexpected victory in New York City's mayoral Democratic primary. Does the party need to move further to the left? How do they capitalize on the enthusiasm he generated, even if they don't agree with his platform? The strategy for Republicans is pretty clear, though. Paint him as the standard and not an outlier of the party. The National Republican Congressional Committee posted a picture of Mamdani with 3 vulnerable New York Democrats, and they wrote this: "Every single Democrat now owns Mamdani's radical socialist agenda." Now, it's worth noting that none of these 3 Democrats actually endorsed Mamdani. In fact, Congresswoman Laura Gillen was not happy with the primary results. She wrote that he's too extreme and the absolute wrong choice. Joining us is former New York Congressman Jamal Bowman, who was with Mamdani last night. Jamal, it's a big moment for New York, but is it something that is actually able to be extrapolated beyond the city, which is in a pretty unique moment? He's an immigrant who's in a city facing anti-immigrant, policies from the federal government. There's an affordability crisis. There's a lot going on here.
Yes, he's the perfect person to respond in this moment to not just a crisis in the city as it relates to immigration affordability, but the fact that the Democratic Party is on life support right now with an approval rating of about 20-something%. So as we talk about bringing excitement back to politics and democracy, his campaign inspired New Yorkers across the city. Turnout was much higher this election than in 2021. Young people, first-time primary voters, made up 25% of the turnout. And he crushed a political dynasty in Andrew Cuomo. And so we should lean into that excitement, and we should do everything we can to learn from what he and his campaign did, which was exceptional, and see how it can be replicated in other parts of the country. Now, let me say this. New York is a special place. Incredible diversity of people, ideas, working class, etc. But when we talk about economic populism, he ran on affordability. Everyone's trying to afford to live. And so it's absolutely something that we should try to benefit from as a party and as a country.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the policies in a second, but just for a moment, what you're talking about, kitchen table issues and a candidate that has a personality like a pulse, right? Like that matters. And it seems like that worked pretty effectively for him in this race. He just was focused on saying he's going to make things more affordable for people, which, the candidate of no taxes on tips and no taxes on Social Security understands.
Well, I think it was more than just trying to make things affordable. I mean, he's embraced, a $30 government enforced minimum wage. He's basically embraced the government taking over grocery stores in New York. He's embraced legalizing sex workers. I mean, New York is a unique place. That's true. If Democrats want their numbers to go below 20%, they should keep following this guy. I think it's good for Republicans. But I think, Abby, to your point, what's disturbing is I feel like the economic nationalism isn't just limited to the Democrat Party. Today, Republican senators have proposed a national minimum wage. Republican senators have proposed caps on credit card fees. These are not traditional free market ideas. These are ideas that both parties are flirting with of a much bigger government intervention into our economy.
Well, which seems to suggest that voters actually are interested in that.
I don't want to take anything away from Mamdani, and in terms of, I think the word you used, inspired, is the accurate word. He did inspire, certainly, and engage the youth. He had incredible social media presence in a way that nobody else in that race could match, and got him views and volunteers and votes. But let's not also forget that he was running against Andrew Cuomo, who I'm sorry, is damaged goods. He's saddled with incredible political baggage. This is a man who has 13 accusations of sexual harassment against him and a scandal involving the nursing homes, which got a lot of play in New York State, including New York City. I have a lot of friends who told me they could not bring themselves to vote for Cuomo because of those allegations. Women friends in particular. So is it a wake-up call for the Democratic Party? Absolutely. And I think Governor Hochul and I think Chuck Schumer need to be paying close attention what's going to happen in their primaries. I think anybody thinking of running for president in the Democratic Party needs to learn about how to engage the young people, how to inspire a base. But also, maybe, just maybe, running somebody with the kind of baggage, an albatross around his neck that Cuomo has, also not a perfect dynamic.
Mamdani at the moment is still sort of like the fresh kid on the block, but very quickly this is going to get, I mean, it's already gotten pretty negative. It'll get even more negative. I mean, there's an old post from his on Twitter in 2020 where he says, what we need is to defund the NYPD, no to fake cuts, defund police. That's just one thing. And he talked about some of the other policies around government subsidized grocery stores, which I don't think is like every grocery store, just certain ones that the government subsidizes for people in need. But nonetheless,
I just think that there are very few people in New York or around the country who don't think groceries are too expensive, that childcare is too expensive, that rent is too high, or that transportation is too cumbersome, right? And so I think people resonated with that, and on top of that, a positive vision, and he was a charismatic candidate. And of course, the Cuomo thing is a consideration. The thing that I think is important to note, though, as someone who was chief of staff to a mayor for 4 years, the most stressful part of the year is budget season. Because in order to do those kind of things that you want to do, to deliver the government services, you need revenue. And in New York, 50% of the revenue comes from business-related taxes, right? So you have to be thoughtful about how you engage the business community and not completely alienate them, or else you're going to lose that valuable revenue for the services that you want to deliver.
Well, Abby, I'm a Californian, and I get in the front row seat to what happened in this campaign, and I've seen a lot of these issues in California already. We saw them at the national basis when Kamala Harris was running, what they used against her, the issues that some of Mamdani's talking about. But New York is a different place, and it's new. I mean, we've seen this before. Ocasio-Cortez beat Joe Crowley. He was a 20-year incumbent, House Democratic chair. She beat him. Very charismatic. We know she can speak very, very well. Happened here again. But when you go down the line and you start talking to people and you say freeze rents, free bus rides, high taxes on millionaires, free childcare, city-owned grocery stores. I mean, I've been to city-owned grocery stores in Havana, Cuba. You don't want to go to those. Minimum wage, $30 an hour. I can go on and on and on. Those are issues that are tough. I don't see it.
It sounds pretty good to a lot of people.
I think we have to distinguish between the things that are free universal child care is not controversial. Let me just be clear. Like, we walk down the street and ask New Yorkers whether they support universal child care. That is not controversial. So you're going to have to distinguish between some of the other things that are more controversial and the ones that are really not.
100%. And when you talk about taxing the wealthiest Americans a little bit more, which comes to about $20,000 additional dollars for each of the wealthiest Americans, raising us billions of dollars to invest in universal child care, invest in fast and free busing, et cetera, et cetera. This is something that working class people want to hear. Billionaires have been getting off scot-free for many, many years. Also, let me just say one thing. Mamdani is just not a pulse. I know you didn't mean it that way. And Ocasio-Cortez is not just articulate.
What I meant was that he has a pulse.
He has a pulse, yes.
He has energy.
But yeah, correct. And I want to be very clear. AOC is a superstar. Zohran Mamdani is a superstar. He's exceptional. His team was exceptional. The Dream campaign against Cuomo were exceptional. So they ran an exceptional campaign with an exceptional candidate. That is scalable. You could take that anywhere across the country and compete against any of the top Republicans.
Can I disagree with you on that
and destroy
for a second?
them.